Welcome to WeekNGeek, your new comics preview for January 2nd, 2013. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown. Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
As you just said before we started rolling here, first episode of the new year.
Yep. Enjoy.
Kind of cool. We're rolling in on episode 100 pretty soon here, too.
Indeed.
And a 2-year anniversary.
Yeah.
I'm going to lead off here with Superman Family Adventures number 8. This is a great fun book. I always talk about this one whenever it comes out for the month. Just a great book. I really enjoyed Tiny Titans, and I like how Art and Franco have managed to evolve the book.
Yeah.
Very, very cool stuff. And also, apparently, Art and Franco and Chris Smits just launched Publishing this weekend. Kind of cool. I don't really know exactly what they're doing yet. They said there's some announcements coming, but look for that. Yeah, look for that if you're a fan of those guys. I don't know how you wouldn't be. Next, I've got Mars Attacks Popeye, so one shot from IDW. This just looked like a lot of fun. It's done in the old style of Popeye, but Mars is going to attack them. And I guess that's their big sort of crossover. Mars is going to be attacking everyone in the IDW universe here eventually.
I think it's a great idea.
I do too. I mean, they tried to do their infestation thing, and I don't know how interested anybody was in their take on the whole zombie thing. This almost makes more sense. You've got a licensed property here that's doing well for you, that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Have them go after everybody. And it looks like good, fun Popeye stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Very much, it's all colored like an old style comic book. It's a regular Popeye comic book that the Martians attacked.
Then I've got Blackacre number 2 from Image Comics. I've actually liked this book. The first 2 issues have been pretty strong so far. It's kind of reminds me a little bit of what was the Land of the Dead? Is that the Walking or the Night of the Living Dead movie where essentially they're walled off and kind of like that. Apparently some rich people have they bought a bunch of property and they were working on one thing, and what actually happened was they walled themselves off when the apocalypse came. Not zombie per se, but just sort of the end of the world as we know it scenario, and they're still living, high and like fat cats where everyone else is sort of in the wasteland. In this story, they have one of their top recruits and they send him out into the wasteland to rescue another one of their guys. But the truth is he's actually got a bomb that he's supposed to blow the other guy up with. That's what happens in the first issue. The second issue here, now you're dealing with him in the wasteland, and so things happen. Obviously, if the wasteland is so scary, then we should probably meet some of those people out there. And we start to. Then I've got Invincible number 99. This book, it is part 2 of 3 of a story titled The Death of Everyone.
Yeah.
Now, I think when they were hyping this up, everyone actually thought, well, they mean, the death of all of these superheroes. What's going to happen? Well, who amongst them is actually going to die? No, that's not what it means if you haven't been reading it. It means the death of everyone. Everyone. On the planet. Everyone. Dinosaurus has got a plan that didn't have anything to do with Mark while Mark was passed out. He had to do what he had to do, and Mark sort of confronts him in the last issue, in issue 98, and then here in 99... it's the fight. And it's a brawl. And a lot of crazy stuff happens. And the last panel has you certainly wondering what the hell is going to happen in issue 100 when they're boasting a death of someone.
Yeah.
So,
everyone.
Or everyone. We shall see. Then I got issue 5 of Harvest. This book has been pretty cool. I would love to see it as a movie. Maybe even a television show. I think it would be interesting. A down-and-out doctor gets hired to run an organ harvesting ring for some bad dudes. And rich people are buying organs, and they're taking them from poor people who, are willing to take the money and not know what is actually going to happen to them. So it's been a good story, and this is the last chapter, and I've been digging that. You should definitely check that out. If you haven't been checking that out, you should try and find the issues, and if not, definitely get the paperback when it comes out. Great Pacific number 3. I've liked this so far. As I've said before, it sort of reminds me of the descendant of the Gamble family that made that movie Thrive. Here's a guy he's from a family that's rich, that's kind of bought everything, that owns everything you're doing, and they're not exactly helping the planet, and he doesn't want to do that, and he takes off and declares himself king of a garbage mound that I think he declared some sort of version of Texas. And there he's going to live on this garbage heap out in the Great Pacific. A bunch of plastic and everything just forms together into these heaps. And he's meeting the people on this. He's not the only one there, even though he's declared himself king. Then we have Fatale number 11. I've liked this book. book's pretty good. I am behind on it a little bit. But it very much has had that noirish feel that Brubaker does so well. I love the artwork. The artwork's fantastic. But not just a noirish tale. It also has monsters and weirdness and some cool stuff. And hey, it looks like some cowboys. All right. So, that is the bulk of my stack there. What are you looking at?
I'm going to start off with Manhattan Projects number 8. This is Jonathan Hickman and Nick Pitara. Hickman's a favorite. This book has always been a favorite. It's always high on our lists.
Is that Albert Einstein with a machine gun?
Albert Einstein with a machine gun.
Shirtless Albert Einstein with a machine gun. One of many reasons why I love this book.
Hey, that's a big machine gun.
That's a big Albert Einstein.
But, the Russian smart guys and the American smart guys got together and decided they were going to do some stuff on their own and ignore their governments. Their governments weren't too happy about that. And in this issue, the Illuminati-run governments make their displeasure known. This is a great book. It's a lot of fun, strange stuff. Unlike some of the other stuff, I really think this only would work as a comic book. Because it's kind of, the art lends to sort of the strangeness and silliness of this concept, so it's good stuff. Kicking off a big run of Brian Michael Bendis in my stack this week. We've got Daredevil End of Days by Bendis, Mack, Klaus Janson, and Bill Sienkiewicz. This has been a great, basically the Daredevil's Dark Knight, his last tale. He's dead, and Ben Urich is trying to find out.
It's his Citizen Kane.
Yeah, his last word was Mapone or something like that. He's trying to figure out what it means by talking to all the people that were important in Daredevil's life. We had Elektra earlier. In this issue, it looks like Bullseye. He's going to be talking to Bullseye. So, when Bendis writes Bullseye and Daredevil, it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Next up, All New X-Men. We've been singing the praises of this one. Very much, so far, of the Marvel Now stuff that I've seen, it's my favorite.
Me too.
It's been great stuff. We've mentioned before, the X-Men from the past, the young X-Men come up to the present, and they see this horrible present that they need to avoid. Looks like this issue's got to focus on Jean Grey because the now no longer dead because she's taken from the past Jean Grey. But it looks like she
wasn't dead then, even though she would be dead now.
Right.
She's not dead in Marvel now.
But it looks like she somehow gets the whole story on what happens to her, and that's not too pleasant.
Can't imagine it would be.
So this has been a really good roller coaster ride story. I mean, it's kind of been some, but not a lot of fighting. It's really just kind of the characters, the emotional. The two Cyclops fight last issue was short, but
But it was cool. It's working for me. I like it. I really like this book a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, me too. And the art's fantastic. I mean, it almost goes without saying it was Stuart Immonen. Next up, Ultimate Spider-Man number 19. It looks like we're done with the big crossover. And we're just back into some Spider-Man. The new
Venom War?
The Ultimate Venom makes his reappearance in this book up against Miles Morales. This is a great book, and they killed Peter Parker before anybody else. I think that's important.
Yeah, come up with a new idea, Dan Slott. Jeez.
Next up, Superman number 15. This is still part of that crossover with the other two super books, with Superboy and Supergirl. Not really sure what was going on in that, but it looks like, it's something about Superman giving Superboy his costume. I don't really know. The Justice League show up, Lex Luthor shows up. This has been a pretty solid book. I just hope I can understand it without knowing the rest of the crossover. I've been saying that a lot. That's the problem with the crossovers. I don't get all of them anymore. Batman Incorporated number 6 by Grant Morrison. This is continuing Batman versus Leviathan. The fate of Robin hangs in the balance. Grant Morrison's told a pretty good story here. I think this is supposed to wrap up everything that he started on Batman. So when this book ends, that's kind of the Grant Morrison Batman omnibus.
Okay.
I don't think things look good for young Damian. I think Grant Morrison may take him with him. So that's Batman Incorporated. Next up, I'm surprised how much I like this book. Fury Max. This is my War Gone By. The 8th issue, Nick Fury started. The first one was Vietnam in the 50s. Then it went to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now he's back in Vietnam in 1970. But he's teamed up with Frank Castle. But it's not the Punisher. It's Frank Castle.
Right.
He was a Vietnam War vet. And he's just as good at killing people back then. And so is Nick Fury. So it's a great espionage war book, but this time it's like it's Punisher and Nick Fury.
Now, I ask this every time: is this an ongoing series at this point?
I don't know. I don't think they've really said. I mean, it's moving up into the present, so eventually it's going to hit the present. So I think there's probably a big story to tell. They just don't maybe know how many issues it's going to be. But yeah, this is like another 3-part story. I think they've been doing them in 3s.
Okay.
But really great stuff, great artwork. Garth Ennis really surprising me with this because it's
he likes the war stuff.
He does, and it works. I'm really surprised how well it works with Nick Fury, though you shouldn't be because that's where he started.
Right.
But I've always read Nick Fury more of a spy, and I never read the old war comics, but these are great. That's my stack.
Well, I guess that would bring me to the top of my stack here, and I think it's probably been a while since I've had a Marvel book at the top.
Yeah.
I've got New Avengers #1. It's a Hickman book.
Yep. It's
Avengers
and Epting, the team from Fantastic Four.
Yep. And now this is essentially the Illuminati book, correct? Yeah. I mean, it's Strange and Reed and Black Panther, so it's all those dudes who are doing the behind the scenes sort of stuff, and it's Hickman's take on there we go, New Avengers Illuminati, right in the middle there.
Yeah.
It's going to be his take on all the strange secret Marvel stuff, and man,
that's going to be good.
That's going to be good. That Hickman, he did such a great job with S.H.I.E.L.D., so now if he's literally been given the keys to...
Although I would like him to finish S.H.I.E.L.D., by the way. I know.
As would I. I feel, honestly, we're just sort of getting that in Manhattan Projects in some ways.
Yep.
But I'm really looking forward to this one, and I don't know how it wouldn't be fantastic. So,
my top is Punk Rock Jesus, #6. We've sung the praises of this many times. It's been a top pick several times. I actually am, caught up on this, which is strange for a Vertigo title for me. But this has been a great book. I mean, we've said many times it's the clone of Jesus, made from blood from the Shroud of Turin.
Yes.
And throughout a fairly complicated story, he becomes this media celebrity. He's born on a reality TV show, or the ones who created this conception. He becomes a media star, the leader of a punk rock band, who is now taking his atheist message to Jerusalem. So it's a really strange out there.
But he was born with a twin who was immediately eliminated after birth. Where is the twin?
And
she's coming. And then a random little girl showed up, like in the second issue or third issue.
Oh, yeah.
More grown up. So come on.
And there's some secret project with the world's algae, food for everyone. I don't know. It's there's a lot of weird stuff. It's definitely a great character, the lead character, and then they're also the other main character is a former Irish terrorist.
Yes.
Really great stuff. Some interesting characters.
But he's got sort of an interesting past as to why he's where he's at.
You can't really sum this book up easily. It's a pretty complex book, but very well done and absolutely gorgeous artwork. And I'm glad that it's wrapping up quickly. As much as I love Sean Murphy's artwork on this, a lot of Vertigo books do kind of go on for a while. This is, and I hope they come back. I haven't read it, so I don't know if there's any kind of final ending. But if this was one of those ongoing series of miniseries, I really like this character. So
yeah, I do too.
I think there's a lot of story here to tell, but if he just wraps it up here, which I'm not going to, the last page doesn't even spoil it. So yeah, great book.
Each issue's been pretty dense too. There's a lot to read in there, so there's been a lot of story. I'm looking forward to reading it again, collected.
That'll be nice. I saw actually a post on Sean Murphy's website where they haven't yet decided whether they're going to do a hardcover, they're going to do a trade paperback, they're going to do bonus features, maybe some additional pages. They are talking about how they're going to try and collect this, so they're putting some thought into that too.
Hardcover would be nice.
I would get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep this paper. It's the only comic book on non-glossy paper anymore.
Yeah, I like it.
I think when Hellblazer's gone, well, this is gone too. So I guess that paper's over.
And it's a whole new year and no more paper.
Yep,
it's gone, done.
Say goodbye. It's shiny paper for a shiny millennium.
Well, with that, enjoy your new year, everybody. There will be books on Wednesday, so go into your local brick and mortar store and guess that's your Week in Geek.